Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Budget Builds Monthly series. Let's see what we have for the month of April.
Before we get into it, I want to give a quick insight as to what we do for this series. We take your budget and answers from a request form. In the video description, there is a link to a Google form. It slowly gets updated every so often. With this information, we try to build the best computer we can to fit your means. Unless there are budget constraints, we spec out systems on AMD and Intel, both using their DDR4 and DDR5 Gen platforms. Once the build lists are complete, we compare each build using online benchmarks and list out the pros and cons between the top builds from the benchmarks. Using those, then we can determine what build is the best for your use case. But we can't do any of that without your input. Speaking of the Google form, let's see how you fill it out.
Whether it's your first time here or you just don't remember, here's how we fill out the Google form. Starting out with your budget, prices are in USD. Budgets do not include taxes, fees, or Windows keys unless stated otherwise. Next, we have your type of system, whether it's gaming, working, or combination of the two. Form factor preferences will determine the case size we go with, whether you want a mini ITX all the way to XL ATX or you have no preference. Next is CPU and GPU preferences, whether you want an Intel CPU, AMD CPU, NVIDIA GPU, or AMD GPU, as well as no preferences or other stated here. Areas of focus, whether you want to focus on the CPU, cooling, the motherboard, etc. Just FYI, the smaller the budget, the harder it is to do specific areas of focus. If you've already purchased or own system components, if you want to do a complete upgrade, instead of just carrying some system components over, just leave this blank, but there's no sense in buying two PC cases if you already have one. Any peripherals you want, such as a mouse, keyboard, and monitor, and then any other requests stated down here. Just a reminder, we do not collect any personal information, such as email addresses.
Quick disclaimer, prices will vary if any sales are going on or stock changes at the time of recording. Because of this, we try to get the budget builds as close or slightly over the stated budget. Unless asked, we are not including taxes, shipping costs, OS keys, or peripherals in the final cost from the budget. Alright, with that all out of the way, let's see what our response is for this month.
Taking a look at our Google form, we can see that again, we have no responses. Remember that we need your responses to make this series. If you want me to do a different series instead, let me know down in the comment section below. Because we didn't get a response on our Google form, we're going to take a different step in this video. Instead of taking a budget and finding something that meets our criteria, we're just going to take a look at this, the Analogue Pocket. It originally came out in December of 2021, so it has been out for a little bit of time. Its retail price is around $219.99 USD, which is a pretty penny when it comes to a Game Boy device. Now the good thing about this thing is it is compatible with more than 2,700 Game Boy games. And you can use anything like your Game Boy Advance, your original Game Boy games, anything is compatible with this device. Now the best thing about this is all the upgrades that you have that you won't be able to do even modding a regular Game Boy. Now based on the website, it has a 1600 by 1440 resolution display. It is LCD, but at a 615 ppi density. They claim that as a 10x of the resolution of the original Game Boy, which is crazy to hear. And not only can you use this for your Game Boy games, but you can also use it for hardware media input and sync cables. It's actually pretty cool. So it's not just limited to just Game Boy games. According to this, you can use all the original cables that I believe come with it, but I'm not sure about that. Seems you can use the cables with the original Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance, except for the first Game Boy, which is interesting. It has a sleep and wake function, I guess similar to how the Game Boy Advance was. So you can use modes to simulate how the original display was on the Game Boys. So this is actually pretty cool. So not only do you have to use this specifically for Game Boy games, but you can also use it for a few other things. Seems like they also have a dock, and you can use this to connect to your TV and sync up to, I guess, 4 controllers, wired or wireless, which is actually pretty cool. They came out with a case to display it. You can make your own games for it. That's pretty cool. You can download it from their studio. Here's all the technical specs. So it's compatible with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance cartridges. It has a 3.5-inch LCD screen. Has a 360-degree rotation. I don't know what tape mode is. It has variable refresh rate. That's cool. Has a 4,300 milliamp hour lithium ion battery that is rechargeable. Gets you around 6 to 10 hours of game time with 10 plus hours of sleep mode. All buttons are mappable, stereo speakers, has a micro SD card slot, uses USB-C for charging, original style link port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. The dock does 1080p output, supports a wide range of Bluetooth controllers, has 2 USB inputs for wired controllers, supports up to 4 players, 4 on Bluetooth or 2 on Bluetooth and 2 wired, has DAC compatibility, or at least it will be coming soon, and then power dock from the controller. Very, very nice. And then it has the Game Gear adapter, as well as Neo Geo Pocket and the Neo Geo Pocket color adapter and the Atari Lynx adapter. So it seems like it's a well thought out device. Analogue Pocket does not play copyrighted ROM yet. Right, because, you know, you're playing them right off the cartridges. Pocket 6-hour battery life is a rough estimate with the display at default brightness. Good thing they wrote that. If we scroll all the way back to the top, let's see what kind of editions they have. So different colors for different editions. A lot of these are, sold out. It makes sense. You kind of have to buy these from somewhere else now. So if we do a quick Google search, alright, so the original price is $219.99, but you can buy it on Amazon for twice that. So don't go to Amazon to buy the Analogue Pocket console. If we hop over to eBay or something, maybe people are selling them on eBay, but I guess you kind of just have to wait for it to go back in stock, kind of look for something else. Alright, so people are, of course, they're overselling these for more than retail price. But of course, I don't know how much these limited consoles went for. Maybe they're the same price. But yeah, if you want one, you're probably going to be spending like $50 to $100 more than retail. Again, it's only because, it's not for sale on their website. So with that being out of the question, here is the Analogue Pocket. It's a cool device that they made, allowing you to play all of your original Game Boy games without losing that nostalgia. It does give you the original nostalgia of the original Game Boy, in how the original Game Boy was just one thick piece of equipment, while the newer Game Boys and the Game Boy Advance, they're all foldable. But all in all, it's a cool little device to use. I personally don't have one of these, nor have I personally used one, but just as a concept, yeah, okay. So right here, the limited quantities were $250 each as well. So it's a shame that you have to pay way more than that to get him. But that's kind of happens with everything. But again, all in all, cool little device. And don't forget that you have to fill out that Google form for us to continue these videos. If there's something you want me to do in place of these videos, just write down in the comment section below, and we'll go ahead and we'll start doing something else instead of these budget build monthly episodes. All in all, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Fill out that Google form, and I'll see you all in the next one.